Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, it's been a couple weeks, but we are here. We are good. We are good to go. And ladies and gentlemen, we are here for episode number 296 of Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like the Heartbleed bug. Now, you've probably been seeing this. You've probably been hearing about this. Heartbeat heartbeat bug. And I'm just checking something here really quick. Heartbeat bug, and of course we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it is, why it is, how it is, where it is, how it is, and all this other is. So thank you very much for coming to the show. Sorry it's a couple minutes late because I downloaded Wirecast 5. Finally, actually went through had the money to actually update to Wirecast 5. So put it in my budget. Now it's here. It's good to go. And so I'm really excited about it. The couple small little things that happened during that. So I had to work out those small little bugs. And now that I got those bugs worked out, I think we're good to go. You're on the VLOG section, which is the vlog section of Geek Smack Live. If you watch on YouTube, over at youtube.com/Geekazine, think magazine put in a geek. Yeah, that's how it works. You can actually find out what's going on with Geekazine in this vlog section. I'm taking some time, 10, 15 minutes to kind of have these moments like this one or this one. And just have a little bit of fun with it and talk to you guys one-on-one, personal. How you doing? How's life treating you? And tell you what's going on with my work, my week and work week, whatever you want to call it. So first of all, happy tax day to you all. I hope you're having fun with your taxes. And wait, I got to do my taxes. Well, we'll see what happens here. Actually, I do have to file my taxes, all ready to go. So after this show, once I do the download, the reload, the upload, the overload, and the overlord part, I will then take my taxes to the bank, or to the bank, to the postal service, the post office, the guys that take care of the mail, not take care of my money, but take care of the mail. Well, they're taking care of the mail that will take care of my money. They'll take care of the mail. So I don't know. You make the decision here. So it's also Happy Blood Moon Day. Isn't it funny? Blood Moon on the same day as tax day. They're sucking the life out of you through the moon. Maybe. I don't know. And once again, happy Google Glass Day. I do not think that this is not a coincidence that Google decided to open it up for everybody that just did their taxes and might have gotten a $1,500 refund. Hey, you got a $1,500. Why don't you get a pair of Google Glass? That's not a bad idea. Last week was so happy tax day, happy Blood Moon Day, and happy Google Glass Day. I hope you're having fun out there with your new Google Glass. And of course, the Kit Kat update that's coming up. You'll be able to take off your glass and give me a break with my glass. Tasty stuff. Anyway, last week was a very productive one as I went to the National Association of Broadcasters, otherwise known as NAB. NAAB. That's the B. Yeah, I got to remember my sign language a little bit here. So anyway, I went to National Association of Broadcasters. Got there a week ago last Friday, and I guess I missed Sheryl Crow by like an hour or two because the plane. Now this is what's really interesting. We actually had to stop. I never get a direct flight to Vegas. I've always got to go somewhere to go somewhere. In this case, I actually went to Detroit to go to Vegas, and halfway in the flight, they called on the overhead. They said, "Is there anybody that is a medical professional that can help us out?" And then about 20 minutes later, they said, we're diverging to Denver to drop off somebody because of a medical emergency. So on the plane, there was a medical emergency. We stopped in Denver. So I was supposed to be there at about 7 o'clock at night ended up to be about 9 o'clock at night. So I missed Sheryl Crow because of that. Not a big deal. I didn't pay for a ticket anyway. So But I got into Vegas that Friday night, hung around, loved the fact that it was 70 degrees, 60, I think it was 65 degrees that night. But the next day was 70 degrees, and got ready to cover the National Association of Broadcasters, NAB. Lots of great stuff. You can find it all over at Geekazine.com. Lots of cool stuff, especially for you podcasters out there. As a podcaster myself, I disrupt the NAB with podcast stuff. As I readjust here, apologize. So you can find out stuff that's coming. And one of the things might be coming during the show. I have ordered myself the Tascam DR60D, and what it is a device, and I've got it over at Geekazine.com. You can go over there and check it out. In fact, let me load up the page here really quick. Over at Geekazine.com, you can check out the Tascam 60D. It's a device that goes underneath the camera, mostly DSLRs, but I'm going to actually use it with the consumer camera that I've got here, the Sony PJ710. The idea, it sits underneath the camera, and I can actually record a second audio, a better audio track. I can actually hook up more than one microphone to it and go from there. Here, let me show you. It's right here over on Geekazine.com. So the Tascam's DR60D will be part of my new video rig, and I'll be able to do one-on-one camera interviews, which is going to be it's going to be a godsend. So I'm in lines of looking for a new wireless microphone to add to the wireless microphone I have right now, so I don't have to run cables. So my next event is TechCrunch Disrupt, and that is next month in New York City, yes. And so I'm going to be implementing this at one point, and I'll probably just have the lavs. Back here I have these nice little MXL microphones, which I wanted to put in the mix. They're kind of mixed up right now, so I won't pull them out. But basically, they're little lav microphones. I've used them on the show before, and they worked. And I wanted to input it into the rig. And I had another device, an ART, which was supposed to flip the bill, and it never did. So I'm probably going to get rid of that ART, and then of course I'm going to implement this Tascam, and I can do up to 4 tracks. So I could actually hook up 4 different microphones if I wanted to, and do a 3 or 4 person interview if I wanted to. So that's the cool thing. It was either that or the Zoom H6, which also that actually did 6 inputs, and I'm really excited about that. But the price. It was literally about price at that point, and this was $179, and the Zoom was $400, and I couldn't justify it. So maybe down the road I'll get a Zoom. Maybe I'll test out a Zoom and put it into the rig and see what happens. But for now, not so much. So I can't wait to see what happens there. But I did at NAB. The coolest thing about NAB is it's not really in my realm. It's for movie makers. It's for TV broadcasters. It's for radio people. But I like to try and figure out the play. I like to, because as a podcast coach, I talk to people that want to spend some more money. They don't want to buy these $30 microphones and iPad apps and stuff like that. They want to put together a decent setup, so when they go to do their show, they're doing it unencumbered by little things, and so they're spending $2,000-$3,000. They put a $3,000 budget together, and they get their podcast going. I try and look for new solutions like this Pile microphone, headset microphone. It's not as great a sound as the microphone I used to have on here, but it's hands free. I don't have a microphone in front of my face now. Well, besides this, which you barely see when you're watching. So I like it because I can do this, and I could do this if I wanted to. You're safe, and not have to bump into any type of microphone. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, new DR60D. I might even just do an episode using the DR60D right to my side, because it's supposed to, on 4 AA batteries, it is supposed to go for about 4 hours. It also has a DC input, so I could actually hook it up to something to give it longer life and not have to spend money on batteries, of course. So we'll see what happens here, but I'm really excited about that, and that's coming today. And I'll also put that into my review unit because I got a ton of stuff that I'm reviewing. Now, if you haven't checked it out, I did get the Amazon Fire. This is the Amazon Fire remote right here, and I did get the gamepad too. I did a quick review where I talk about the differences between the Fire, the Roku, the Fire, the Roku, the Chromecast, and the Apple TV. Which, of course, I have the Apple TV right here, and I talk about it's more of a where do your alliances lie? If you are a big fan of getting lots of channels, the Roku's for you. If you have a ton of stuff on iTunes, then the Apple TV's for you. The Chromecast is portable. I could have actually taken the Chromecast with me on travel and hooked it up to the system and used it that way, or the Amazon Fire with the brand new games. I have yet to play some more games on there, and I'm really going to try out this remote in the next couple days. Really excited about that. So that's basically what that video was about. Which camp do you line up with simply because of what you've done in the past already? So that video is out. Everything is over at youtube.com/Geekazine, youtube.com/Geekazine. And in fact, we'll go over to my YouTube channel right now. And everything's making me sign in. There we go. Sign in. There we go. We're signing in. And what really frustrates me is I've signed in 3 or 4 times on this computer because what I just did was I enabled the 2-phase authentication because of Heartbleed. And we're going to talk about Heartbleed today. We're going to talk about what it is, why it's so important to change some passwords, and if you should change your passwords or not. But anyway, let's go over here. This is my YouTube. This is my behind-the-scenes YouTube channel. So you're seeing some of the numbers here. We've got the we'll zoom it in a little bit so you can see a little bit more. We got the NAB 360 Hero, which I put out yesterday. Getting some good traction. There's the Tascam DR60D, NAB Expo Day 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Fire TV, and then, of course, some other cool videos that have been getting some good traction. Go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I'd appreciate it much. That's over at youtube.com/Geekazine, youtube.com/Geekazine. Join the 31 viewers that are already enjoying my content over at youtube.com/Geekazine. You can also always find me over at Geekazine.com, Think Magazine, put in a geek, or Twitter handle Geekazine. Last night's This Week in Google Glass saw me and Luke talk about news, including XE16, the new update called KitKat. And then, of course, today, like I said, Google Glass Day. You can buy a Google Glass outright, not a problem, and without any wait, you just go and buy it. You're actually getting it at a discount. Now, we looked at it last night. It's like, wait a minute, for $1,500, you get Google Glass, you'll get a pair of frames, and you'll get a pair of shades. So that's not a bad deal. So if you don't use the frames, let me know and send them to me, and then I'll use them for the show. But other than that, that's what you get. Now that's usually an $1,900 value right there, because you get Google Glass, and well, you get a pair of shades with your Google Glass. So, and then another $250 for the frames, and you're getting that free. So it's like you're paying $1,250 for your Google Glass. So that's pretty cool. And I wish I would have had that discount. But, hey, it is what it is. So what else do we got here? iPad 365, we took a small little vacay because of the fact that I'm doing way too much and I just didn't have time to put together an iPad 365. Day in Tech History has been running like no tomorrow, nonstop train, going from day to day to day. And if you go over to Day in Tech History, you'll find out. I know yesterday we talked about Ronald Wayne and how he was the third co-founder of Apple, and he got out of Apple and go from there. Today, the Titanic, back in 1912, the Titanic sank. And a little program called Damn Small Linux was released not in 1912, in 2005. There's a lot more you can find out, like the Pentium 2 processors were introduced. The first McDonald's hamburger was sold in the search engine. Cool. launched in alpha on today on April 15th on this Day in Tech History. That's over at dayintechhistory.com. Go over to dayintechhistory.com to find out a little bit more about that. All right. Like I said, there's lots of products that are in the bin. Dyson's on board. Our friends over at Dyson sent me the I think it's the DR6 or something like that. It's a portable vacuum cleaner, which recharges. And I actually went across the room because there were a lot of spider webs up in the corners. I went across the room and I used that to get rid of. There's a couple spider webs over there. Get rid of the spider webs and do some spring cleaning on this room. I'm going to do some more spring cleaning. I've got foam on the walls, and I even did a little bit of vacuuming up on the foam here, and really it shows how much dust is on these curtains, so I'm going to take care of that, and we'll be doing that in the video. We've also got our winner for the MSI R7 250, which is the AMD card here. Let me pull it here. Hold on a second. Grab it right here. The AMD R7 250. Congratulations, Mike Rodriguez won that. So congratulations to this. We'll have some more contests coming up very shortly, and you'll be able to win some really cool stuff. So stay tuned. So, and let's see what else we got. Thanks for everybody that participated. By the way, I really appreciate that. All right, that does it for this part. We're going to get into the show. So what's going to happen, you're going to see the Geek Smack logo like this. And then stick around. It's going to take about 10-15 seconds while I reset everything and get ready for the show. But then the show comes on. We're going to talk about lots of tech. We've got a lot of information talking about... let's see, we're talking about the Galaxy S5 getting hacked. We're talking about some of the Heartbleed stuff. Airbnb for retail. You can now, there's a company that's working on paying by putting your hand on something. The Mozilla's new CEO, which is interesting in itself. Gmail updates, and then the main subject where we're going to talk about learning about the Heartbleed bug and why it's so important to check your websites, and especially like, GoDaddy, especially like Yahoo, and other websites, and change some passwords. I changed my password on Google because it was one of the open SSL ones, and I've been kind of paying for that because I decided to put on the two-part authentication, and now every time I log into a new computer, it's asking me to double verify by sending a code to my phone. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how much I really get into this, and maybe I'll decide to switch back. We'll see what happens. But for now, we're gonna get you into the show. So stick around. Here we go. It's time to smack the geek out at Geek Smack. Here we go.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. And here we go on another episode of Geek Smack, episode number 296, where we're going to talk about Galaxy S5. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi at 10 gigabits, and then the Heartbleed bug. I can't say it. What you need to know, and let's get started right now. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers with Geekazine over at Geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in a geek. You've got bang Geekazine just like that. How you doing? How's your morning doing? How's your afternoon doing? If you're watching live over at youtube.com/Geekazine, thank you very much for doing that. Otherwise, if you want to check out the show, we'll get the boom. There we go. Jeffrey Powers at Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek. Geekazine at gmail.com. 608-205-4378 is the phone number. We've got a lot of great news here. And of course, the main subject, we're going to talk about the Heartbleed bug. A bleed bug. The bug. So, first of all, really want to say, if you caught the live show, I'm going to go quick run through here. Happy Tax Day and Happy Blood Moon Day on the same day. Go figure. Also, Happy Google Glass Day. Today you can order yourself a pair of Google Glass like mine, which is pretty cool, because you just got your refund, which might be $1,500. Why not buy a pair of Google Glass? Anyway, We saw a productive week last week because I was at NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters. I learned a lot about my craft from regular broadcast movie technology. I've got some cool stuff coming this way, including the Tascam DR60D, which is going to improve my sound and actually add a second audio and third and fourth audio jack into my interview work. So I might just be microphone free and actually do some one-on-one interviews that way. I'm really excited about that. Also, last night, This Week in Google Glass, myself and Luke Wallace talked about all the news because there was a lot of news, including this Google Glass Day and including the fact that the new version XE16 is coming out. So I'm really excited about that. Got a lot of products that are coming down the way. We've got about 23 videos from NAB, and then of course products from Dyson. We've got the winner for the R7 250 card, the AMD card. Congratulations to Mike Rodriguez. Mike the Tech won the card. We're gonna have some more contests going from there, and that's pretty much it. We're just gonna go back into regular mode here and go from there. But first of all, want to take the badge like we always do. This is the NAB badge. I'm going to put it up in the Hall of Badges right here, so I'm going to do that really quick without stepping on any cords. There we go. And of course, CES, NAB, South by Southwest. We got CA World 2013. We've got VIP access cards. We've got everything into the Hall of Badges right there. That's where my badges go. My stinking badges go right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, we're going to talk about the Heartbleed bug. What happened? How to fix. Simple as that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do that later in the show. First of all, let's get your tech smack out of the way. Tech Smack is brought to you by our friends over at Carbonite.com. I see on the... well, the other thing is I updated my Wirecast software to version 5, and I'm finding some small bugs apparently in this lower third. That's the code right there. Maybe you can read it. I don't know. It's geekazine.com/carbon-free. But anyway, Carbonite.com, backup now, backup often, backup off-site. It's very important that you have an off-site backup of your documents, of your pictures. We're getting so much stuff put on digitally. We're getting rid of the papers. You know, you got less papers in your system. Now you've got it all digital. You don't want that hard drive crashing. I back up in multiple forms. I back up on-site and I back up off-site. And the best part about backing up off-site is, you know, I take a lot of trips. You know, I go to Vegas, and let's say I'm in Vegas, this computer's turned off, and it's like, oh man, I should have grabbed that one file. I need that one file. Well, I can't go to this computer or its backup because that's all turned off. So why not go up to, so what I do is I go up to Carbonite.com, I find the file there, and I can download it from there. Just log in and do that. Simple as that. It's a great way. It's not really a storage area for that, but it's a great way to actually be able to pull that stuff if needed. So I don't live without being able to back up my systems, especially offsite, and that's where Carbonite.com comes in for you. You can check it out. You got a 15-day free trial for personal computers. All you have to do is go over to Geekazine.com/carbon-free, Geekazine.com/carbon-free. If you're a business and want to know more about Carbonite, go over to Geekazine.com/carbonite for your business and find out how to back it up online there. That's over at Carbonite, Geekazine.com/carbonite or Geekazine.com/carbon-free. We're going to start over at all you Samsung users out there. There's been a small little issue. Apparently the fingerprint scanner has been hacked, and anything like a PayPal account or any type of account that uses the fingerprint scanner is also under. You need to look at this, because what's happening as and they noted it on the German security blog H Security. They posted a video evidence how the fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy S5 can be spoofed using a lifted print. So, this is kind of like Mission Impossible type situation. So I could, if I put a fingerprint on my forehead and somebody grabbed that, did the whole CSI thing with the powder and the tape, they could lift the print, they could turn around, and they could use that print to scan on the phone. So they'll need to grab your print first, and then they'll need to steal your phone for a couple hours. But it can be done. It could be done, and because of that, if you're using PayPal, your security might be at risk there. So that is, and it's not the first time Apple had their iPhone fingerprint scanner hacked using that same method. So, but the Galaxy S5's fingerprint security implementation makes this hack far more dangerous. So if you've got a Galaxy S5 and you're using that especially for payments like PayPal, you want to check this article out. We'll have the link over in the show notes where you can subscribe over at Geekazine.com. All right, moving on from there, we're moving on in Wi-Fi antennas. Now, this year we came out with the 802.11 AC, which is this multi-band ability to really cover your house and be able to cover multiple items. Like if you're in the living room watching over the set-top box of some sort, and the wife is in the bedroom watching something on the iPad, and the kids are down in the basement watching something on their phones or something like that, then you have full coverage. Now we're getting into what's called 10 gigabits per second Wi-Fi. There's a chip by Quantenna that is out there, and this is actually very cool. It'll basically give you 802.11 AC technology at about 10 gigabits per second internally. When you still have to worry about whatever your cable company or something like that does. So whether it is like, for instance, I'm with Charter, and the cool thing, I don't know if you're in a Charter area, you just found out everything just got switched over to digital, which meant that when I came back from Vegas, that TV that I had in the bedroom, the actual CRT TV, had to get a cable box attached to it. So I've attached a cable box to it. Now I'm looking for a brand new TV because CRT, I found that cable boxes attached to CRT TVs give this white noise sound out of the speakers, and it's very annoying. It's like a little sound as you're watching TV. So I'm gonna find myself a nice $100 flat panel TV, maybe a little bit more, maybe even upgrade the TV in the living room, and then bring that TV into the bedroom. We'll see what happens. If you got a TV you want to donate, let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. But we're going back to 802.11, 10 gigabit per second. Charter's actually doubling because of this digital thing. They'll eventually double my internet speeds, which are pretty good anyway. But that upload speed, if I can double that, I can do a lot more, including this video at 1080p, and I'll be really excited about that. But nonetheless, these routers internally being able to pass information at 10 gigabits per second, awesome. I can't wait for that to happen. So this new chip to supercharge any type of networking, I'm all for. I can't wait to see it. That article is over at GigaOhm. It's not out yet, but coming very soon. All right, let's move on from there. Let's go over to TheVerge.com. Netflix. Of course, we saw Netflix working with Comcast and of course trying to get Netflix on Comcast. They work with a lot of companies to do this. And after this controversial deal, a lot of people found that the speeds on Netflix jumped 65%. So if you're watching a movie, and the worst thing about a Netflix movie is when you're watching it and all of a sudden it downgrades from 1080p to 720p to 480, and then it gets really blurry, really fuzzy, and then you're watching it, it's like, this is annoying. You'll pause it and you'll just walk away for a little bit and you'll come back. Or on the Roku, it'll just straight up reboot. It'll have some problems and just like, okay, I'm done, and reboots. And then you have that unscheduled break anyway. Well, with the speeds here, if you've got a router that can handle it and you're not taxing your systems, you'll find that if you're on Comcast, that your Netflix movie watching will be a lot better. So what they found out is that streaming speeds, they get streaming speeds of 2.5 megabits per second, which was up from the 1.15 megabits per second. So it basically doubled, a little bit more than doubled, on average for Comcast delivered Netflix subscribers in January. So somebody's watching that, and they actually got. Let's do this. This little ISP speed index. Let's go over to this page here, and it's basically saying the Cablevision is probably that was the best at 2.98. And then you got Cox, Suddenlink, Charter. Charter's at 2.61, so congratulations, Charter. Time Warner Cable, not too far behind. The worst is Clearwire. Then it comes to Verizon DSL, and then AT&T DSL. So if you're on AT&T and you need to switch, this right there we go. This right here is a good reason why to switch on that. That's horrible if you want to watch. If all you're doing is getting internet to watch Netflix, that must be horrible for you to watch. So anyway, if you want to see that, we got the link over. It's over at The Verge. We got the link over at Geekazine.com. You can check it out there. Let's move this over and bring this up, and this, and this, and this. And I think we're good there. Next up, over at Dealerscope.com, Toshiba is and they introed these at CES, if I remember correctly, the new 4K laptops, being able to do 4K video, which is the screen that's 3890 by 2160, basically. It's the new P55T 4K laptop. It's going to be out around the time of June, or about time that you can actually go back to school. It's going to be priced at $1,499. But it will have USB, have HDMI ports. It'll be fully functional for 4K. Now, I don't know if that's for rendering 4K or if it's for projecting 4K. I'm guessing it's projecting 4K. So if you're rendering 4K, then I don't know if this machine will do it for you. But we'll see as we go. There's going to be 4 different series: the C series, the L series, the S series, and the E series. So you can watch that. And then, of course, they'll all be at Best Buy. So if you want to read more on that, we've got that link over at Dealerscope, a brand new website for me. So if you see any bad links, let me know, and we will move on from there. Next up, a couple weeks ago, Microsoft announced that Office will now be available on iPad. I haven't done an iPad 365 video on it because of the fact that you still had to pay for Office 365. You could download the apps, but they're in view mode only. So if you can put your documents and your spreadsheets on a Dropbox or a SkyDrive or something like that, and then you just go into the app and you can look at them, but you can't make any changes. You can't even put a Post-it note on those. And I have a problem with that you have to pay outright for that. Sometimes I just want basic functionality. Excuse me. Being able to start a Word document on my home computer, because I have Office 2010 on my home computer, and be able to continue it on my iPad. I want to pay $20 for that iPad app for Word and be done with it. I think that's not too much to ask. I really don't think that's too much to ask. So, but hey, they're doing it on this subscription model, and of course to update. But now they've come out with a new version. It's called the Personal Now, and I'm kind of excited about this because the reality is it's affordable for somebody like me. $6.95 a month, $6.99 a month, or $70 a year. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, as opposed to $200 a year for Office 365 full-blown subscription, I like this subscription model better. I'd like it even better if it was $40 a year, but I can get Word, I can get Excel, I can get PowerPoint, I can get OneNote, which is free anyway, which you can download on the iPad, and be able to use, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and then there's a fourth one. I think that's Outlook. So there's no Microsoft Access. Don't need it. I haven't used Access in years. I use Excel, I use Word, and I'll be able to. So basically, with this, I'll be able for $70. I'll be able to put it on a PC, on a Mac, plus one Windows tablet or iPad. So it's basically two devices, which would be on my Windows machine over there because I don't. Well, maybe it would be on my Mac. I don't know. But for $7 a month, that'd be kind of cool. I'll definitely be able to try it out, and I'll probably teach them or learn more about how the program works. So, of course, I've known Office since Office 3 or 2 or whatever it was. Since the late 80s, early 90s, when Office was really out there for version 3.1 of Windows. So, anyway, if you want to check out more, go over to zdnet.com. We'll have the link in the show notes. All right, we're going to talk about the Heartbleed bug, but this is an important article that I need to keep separate from the other ones that you need to know about. And that is a company called Akamai. They put out a patch for OpenSSL to fix the Heartbleed bug. Akamai is reissuing that patch because they said that they had a bug inside of their patch to fix the bug. So, the company basically runs 147,000 servers. They found this bug. Now, this doesn't affect you too much unless you've changed some passwords. You might be asked to change some passwords once again. So that's what happened there. The company, you can read all about it if you're interested about the OpenSSL and what happened there. But just so you know, this is what's happening with this Heartbleed bug, how big of an issue it is. And of course, that's why we're talking about it in the main subject of today's show. So if you want to read more on that, go over to pcworld.com. Finally, last part, TechCrunch.com. I'm not a big fan of Airbnb. In fact, I'm going to New York City next month, and the one thing I'm trying to do is try and find a good hotel. I want $100 a night rate. And inside of New York, not possible. $200 or up, unless you do Airbnb or you do like YMCA with shared bathrooms. I'm not going to do that at all. But Airbnb, I could get a place for $100. Now, in San Francisco, a couple weeks ago, we found out that if anybody was found to be running an Airbnb, there's a possibility that they'll not only get shut down, but they'll get their lease terminated. In San Francisco, that's a big deal. So, I've never been a fan. I've been a fan of the idea of Airbnb, but with the fact of all this regulation out there, I've never used Airbnb because I don't want to show up and not have that place be there. And in most cases, it probably will be. I probably won't have a problem with it. But, 3 or 4 weeks ago when we talked about the guy who did the Airbnb and the person that rented it out turned it into a big sex orgy, and the guy came home to $80,000 worth of damage. That's a big thing. So I'm not a big fan of it, but I am a big fan of it this way, and that is Airbnb for retail. This is really cool. There's a lot of open shops, especially with the front face. And there's times where you might want to just, do something like what Google's doing, running around the United States, showing off Google Glass to people. You just want to have a pop-up shop all of a sudden to help with maybe a tax shop or something like that. You're only going to be around for a couple of weeks. You'll pay all the taxes that you need to pay and everything like that, but you just want a shop for a couple of weeks with electricity, maybe some Wi-Fi and that. And that's what this is all about, Airbnb for retail. The contracts are a lot different, but more important, some of these storefronts that run vacant for months at an end can actually get some income coming in just for a little bit as they need to. So I'm very excited about this. I can back this one right here because of the fact there's a little bit more regulation on this. It's not like I'm going to find retail Airbnb to stay for a week because it's going to cost even more. I mean, we're probably going to talk at least maybe $1,000 a week or something like that, $500 a week. Well, maybe that is cheaper than an Airbnb, but you get the idea. It's going to be a little bit more expensive for a retail shop, and of course you have to pay all the retail fees and all that other stuff, and go from there. But I like this idea a lot for people to, maybe go in there from month to month. Maybe if they're not too concerned if somebody ends up renting the place, they'll move out and they'll find another pop-up shop and go from there. So I'm excited about this. Check it out. It's over at TechCrunch. Like I said, we'll have the link in the show notes over at Geekazine.com. You can go over there and subscribe to the show notes or just say hi. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Geekazine right there. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address, and the hotline is 608-205-4378. All right. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about more tech geek news. And, of course, we're also going to talk about this Heartbleed bug, what it's all about, why you should do that, why am I doing goal posts? Maybe there's a football goal. I don't know. And should you change your passwords, and should you put on things like two-pass authentication? We're going to talk about that. We're going to do that next. You are watching Geek Smack live, or maybe recorded, depending on where you are, over at Geekazine.com. We'll be right back. And, of course, this part is brought to you by our friends over at Yes Video. You might have some 8mm film down in the basement, might have some beta or VHS tapes. I don't have a VHS player anymore. I don't have a beta player anymore. I certainly don't have an 8mm film camera anymore. So if I want to take these videos and put them online, I'm out of luck unless I find a company such as Yes Video. And what they do is they digitize those videos. They give you a link where you can download them. They give you the opportunity to get DVDs made of them. You can do whatever you want. Of course, they're your intellectual property. Do whatever you want. If they're funny videos, put them up on YouTube. Make some cash off of them. Watch and share your moments. You can share it with your friends and family. So if you have a throwback Thursday or something like that, and say, hey, remember this video when I don't know, I was 3 years old and I accidentally peed all over the birthday cake or something like that. Hey, that was great. That was a great moment. So you can share that with friends and family. You can keep them on their servers. You can download them. You can bring them to you and do what you need to. And you can preserve those priceless moments for years to come. So you can show your grandkids that you peed on a cake. Possible. Very possible. So check it out. We got it's over at Yes Video. And let me show you the website here. Of course, if you use their promo code CJ1FREE, you get a deal. I don't know what the deal is. What's the deal with that? What's the deal with that? They change the promo codes a lot. So CJ1FREE. Yeah, they just say promo code CJ1FREE. I guess that's promo code for the month. Use CJ1FREE. But go over to geekazine.com/yes. Geekazine.com/yes. to partake in that deal. Of course, it helps me keep these lights on and the cameras running. I thank you very much for that. All right, let's move from here. Let's go back into the tech news of the week. Back over at TechCrunch, Microsoft is rolling out the April Xbox One update. The update gives you the ability to, it improves the game DVR algorithm that they've got in there. You'll see alerts when Xbox Live friend signs in. And there's going to be, simple things like a progress bar when the game is saving. So it knows how long so you know how long it's going to take for it to do. Other things is the Connect voice motion algorithms have been improved. The Blu-ray player hardware is supporting 50 hertz video content. Improved controller, and the Xbox One can power cycle itself automatically. So if you want to read more on that, go over to techcrunch.com. We have the link in the show notes. Gmail is letting you insert photos automatically from your smartphone or from Google+. Apparently, that was... I don't think I've ever tried it. But apparently that was something that you couldn't do right offhand. So now with the update, you'll be able to... Let's say you want to take that picture and send it to friends. Just took the picture of, I don't know, Rome or a countryside or your 3-year-old peeing on a cake. I don't know. then you can send that way, and of course share it on Google Plus and go from there. It's all that integration into one Photos area, which I kind of like because when I take a picture, it instantly I have it up on Google Plus within a couple hours at the far latest. It's usually up almost instantaneous. So I'll be able to post up on Google Plus. The cool thing, this was what I was doing for NAB. I took a picture with glass. The picture would then transfer to my phone. My phone would then transfer it to Dropbox, and Dropbox would then transfer it to the computer. So when I was ready to actually show some of the pictures, all I had to do is open up my Dropbox, go to my folder which stores all the photos, pull those photos over. I had to reduce some of the size, of course, because they were pretty big. But once I did that, I could put them into my blog and go from there. Last year, we couldn't do that. 2 years ago, we couldn't really do that too much, but we could kind of do it. But I remember when I had to hook up the cable to my computer and download and do all that stuff. And now I don't even have to do that when it comes to Gmail. So I'm really excited about that. We'll see what happens there and go from there. Let's move on. Mozilla has named their new CEO and Chris Beard as the new chief executive officer. Of course, last week was the CEO that was forced out because of the firestorm around the internet that was sparked by employees who complained about his opposition to gay marriage. Now, I don't, I hate to show this irony, but the guy's last name is Beard. So, as the new CEO, and if you get that, you get that. If you don't, it's just a little ironic little twist to this whole thing. Chris Beard, congratulations to Chris Beard. I'd like to see what he'll be able to do with Mozilla. Ousting somebody for their beliefs, that's a different story. Whether good or bad, I think that was horrible. But that is what it is, and it happened. It's time to move on. And now we've got Chris Beard in as CEO. We'll see what happens. I don't use Mozilla Firefox too much. I have it on as the second browser. It's my secondary browser to go to for anything. So, but I switched over to Chrome a few years ago when Firefox was acting super slow, and I talked about it on Geekazine, and I never looked back. So we'll see how Firefox works. I'd switch back to Firefox if Chrome became problematic, and Firefox became the glowing diamond that it really should be, because it has a lot, and there are some things that I go to Firefox for, but for most part I'm a Chrome guy. Sorry. So we'll see what happens there. Congratulations to Chris, and we'll see how things progress. Google has decided to buy drone maker Titan Aerospace. This is over on Reuters.com. It's a solar-powered drone maker, Titan Aerospace, as they ramp up wireless internet access. And, of course, we talked about that with Facebook a few months ago. And I kind of didn't understand the whole idea of the solar drone. I thought it was actually going to even do more than just that. But the idea is these drones will be up in the air. They get knocked out of the air, no big deal. Another drone goes in its place. It's pretty cheap to replace. And it just sits there, and the solar panels charge it, and they just keep spinning. And then what they do is they give you wireless internet access to different parts of the world that you wouldn't get. Now, you might think to yourself, well, why would we need that? And I talked to a lot of people about podcasting and over-the-top podcasting, and I learned a story from a friend about a year ago about how some people wait for this satellite to come into range. And they have a window from like 2 a.m. in the morning to 8 a.m. in the morning. Now, the satellite's in range a lot longer than that, but the problem is at 8 o'clock in the morning, business starts. So whatever you need to do, whether it be a Skype, whether it be some big file transfer or something like that, you do it at that point in time in the day. And then if at 8 o'clock, business takes it over, and whatever you had for internet access is pretty much squelched. So with these drones in play, they could actually put a few different drones that will then push Wi-Fi to these areas which will then have better internet access. And I'm all for that. So I can't wait to see what happens here. It's a 20-person company, the Titan Aerospace. It's a 20-person company. And so of course, they're going to have Google money. And it's interesting because I talked to guys over at Nest. And now that they got Google money to them, they can actually pursue some of the things that they need to pursue and go from there. So it's not all this pressure to figure out where the next check is going to come so they can do some improvements. So we'll see what happens to Titan Aerospace if they can improve it. I don't know, would a drone in the air be the best thing? Let me know. Tweet me over at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. What do you think? Should we have drones in the air that deliver Wi-Fi? Will that work? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on from there. This is, like I said, this is over at Reuters.com. Check this out. Over at Engadget, they have this company. It's a Swedish company that's looking at other ways to pay. Now, we've been questioning, especially with this Heartbleed bug, we've been questioning if a password is a good idea. What are some other ways to do it? Well, we can do a touch thing through our phone. We got the eyes, which are individual fingerprints of them own, the fingerprint scanner. But of course, we've seen, we just talked about how fingerprint scanners can get hacked. So what do you do from here? This is a company that's working on palm prints. So you basically set your hand down on the thing, and it reads your palm print. And there's nothing, there's no NFC chip, no smartphone or anything like that. And it'll be able to make a payment for you just by putting down your hand. Now, of course, if you lose your hand, then that's a problem. But they probably have ways around that to fix that. But student Frederick Leafland is coming with this approach for different type of ways to work with companies to get a better secure system without having to have a password or a 4-pin code key or something like that. So he says the palm is a way to identify shoppers by the unique branding pattern of veins in their hands. So it's not really looking at the pattern of the print; it's looking at the veins inside, which is, So if you put your palm down on the surface or something like that, somebody could lift that print. With the veins, it's a little bit tougher to do. So we'll see what happens there. It sounds really simple, sounds really easy. But we'll see if this becomes something utilized. It might not be utilized in the way that you'll ever see it inside of a store or something like that. But maybe someday they'll just have a little handle, and it's like put your hand on the handle, just like you would like a treadmill at a health club, and you put your palm on that, and all of a sudden it reads who you are and says, "Hey, you want to pay for this? This is how much it's going to cost." Okay, we make the payment. Go from there. You want to read more? Go over to Engadget.com. We'll have the link in the show notes from there. Moving on from there, Google Glass getting Android KitKat. We talked about that on This Week in Google Glass last night. KitKat was announced about an hour before, where they're going to be able to give you the KitKat features that they talked about a few weeks back. So you'll be able to take a picture and send that picture into the Hangout. You'll be able to the most used commands that you use, like for instance, if you say, "Okay, Glass, take a picture," that will hit to the top of the list, and all the stuff you don't use will go to the bottom of the list. And that's a great one because I use that all the time. Newest app I put on here was the live stream app. And I'll be talking about that on an upcoming NAB video, which basically I can go like this. I can go, "Okay, Glass, live stream." Okay, there we go. Live stream. And now I can set it up to go live through live stream through my Google Glass. I'm really excited about that. However, there is one feature that a lot of people have been complaining about. They're getting rid of video calls. Now, the way that it's set up, I don't know, we talked about that for a bit on the show. Luke thinks that that's all Hangouts. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it's a full-blown Hangout, or if it's just a one-on-one video call. Like for instance with FaceTime or something like that, I can take the phone and I can talk like this and go back and forth. But a video call, what does that really work? Now, there's a lot of people that are complaining about the functionality to disappear. They don't want to see things disappear. They want to see things added. And so I'm guessing that this video call option will come back. And the only way that we'll know is once KitKat gets updated, if that gets rid of the Hangout altogether. If you can still hang out without the video or whatnot, I'm guessing you can, because you can take a picture and send it to them and go from there. Maybe even the Glass is just not ready for that type of stuff, because even with a live stream, it does, 10 minutes and Glass is super hot. And the battery is only going to get you about 20, 30 minutes worth of video that streams over the internet. And then, of course, you have to deal with disconnects. So maybe it's not the time for the video stuff. Maybe with the third generation V3 of Google Glass, which I really think is coming out, which is why I've recommended to people that unless you absolutely need Google Glass right now to do some development or something like that, don't get Google Glass. Wait until, we know in June they're going to have Google I/O. They're pretty much going to have to announce what's going to happen with Google Glass. I'm guessing in August, we're actually going to see a version 3 of Google Glass come out. Version 3 of Google Glass come out. And it's going to have a better processor. It might even have some more memory. You might be able to choose a 16 gig or a 32 gig model. It'll have an improved battery and a little bit more. And that will be worth whatever the price is than getting a $1,500 model today. It's tough because most of you have probably went through most of the day, and either you made your decision to buy the Glass or didn't, and gone from there. So if you can wait, I think August will be the time, because that's around Christmas time. That's when everybody starts buying their Christmas gear. Maybe even earlier. Maybe they want to get version 3 out for the students for the 2014-2015 year. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I highly suggest wait. That's what I'm going to say there. So, but anyway, Google Glass, the sale ends today, but I bet you if you sign up tomorrow, they'll send you an email within 24 hours, because that's what's been happening for the most part. As for KitKat comes later this week. It's not even on my Glass yet, so they'll push it. I'm guessing they're going to push it either tomorrow or Thursday, most likely Thursday, and then you'll be able to get the updates with KitKat. So we'll see what happens with this voice, this video calling thing, if they'll put it back on. I think it's going to come back on very, very soon. So you want to read more, go over to PC Mag. Of course, we got it in the news. And if you want to talk about it, let me know. Geekazine, over at Geekazine.com. Geekazine's the Twitter handle. This week in GoogleGlass.com. You can always comment there and go from there. All right, last article of the day, and that's over at the Inquirer. Google has admitted, hey, we're reading your email. Yeah, we're doing it. They changed their terms of service. And they said that in the terms and conditions, they said that the users agree that information that they submit and share with its systems is all fair game. And here's the nomenclature here. It goes, when you upload or otherwise submit, store, send, or receive content to through our services, you give Google and those we work with a worldwide license to use, host, store, reproduce, modify, create derivative works, or other changes, blah, 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 blah. So basically, you grant them rights to do that. Now, they're not just going to grab emails and start showing them on screens. They're not going to do that. What they're probably going to do is if some lawmaker comes in and says, hey, there's been some illegal activity at this Gmail account, we need some information, Google's going to go, okay, here you go. They're not gonna mess around with it because you're doing something stupid on Gmail. It's as simple as that. If you really have business that you don't want anybody to see, use your own email address and encrypt the heck out of it and pay for that. This is a free service. They can read any email that I've got on there. They'll find some business. A lot of the emails, I do a lot of deleting of my emails. I clean up my email box a lot. And yeah, when I have, especially if I have a password reset or something like that, once it says your password's been reset, I delete those emails. Because if somebody does hack into my email account, they don't know what other services I use unless they dig deeper. So I'm all for that. If like I said, if you want to read my Gmail, that's fine with me. I have nothing secretive. I'm not, I'm not cheating on Jennifer. I'm not doing anything like that. It's an open book for me. So anyway, if it's not an open book for you, let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Tell me what you like, what you don't like about that, and we'll go from there. All right, that does it for the second part for the Geek Smack of the show. We're going to get into the main thing. We're going to talk about this Heartbleed bug. This is, this is the big thing everybody wants to know about: what happened, and why it happened, how it happened, how long has it been going, and a whole bunch more. We're going to do that next. You are watching Geek Smack over at Geekazine.com, and we'll be right back. Last week, we found out about a major problem in what was called OpenSSL technology, where hackers could find a way to get in and exploit. Guess what, though? People knew about that way before last week. So here's what's transpired last week and what we need to worry about what happened. Let's start with the what. The Heartbleed bug was announced last week as a major vulnerability where passwords had to be changed on many websites that used what's called OpenSSL software. OpenSSL or SSL is called a secure socket layer. The computer basically uses the secure socket layer to encrypt any information that needs to, such as a password. However, once it gets onto the computer has to encrypt and decrypt all that stuff so it knows where it's going, what it's doing. What it did was it put that into a memory area in which if a computer hacker was already hacked into the server, they could pull out that information and get your passwords, get your username, get your data, sometimes even get your credit card information. The bug was first discovered by security firm Kodamakan, that's what it's called, along with Google researcher Neil Mehta. The name they coined because the SSL technology is actually called Heartbeat. So with this issue became Heartbleed. There are many sites that were absolutely not affected because they didn't use OpenSSL. Still, a lot of major websites that did use OpenSSL got affected. They said that their passwords, they even patched it and the passwords weren't affected, but they still suggest that you change your passwords. This includes Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, Google, Yahoo, Etsy, GoDaddy, Minecraft, Flickr, Netflix, SoundCloud, YouTube, Box, Dropbox, GitHub, and many more. Most have already checked their records, and like I said, they patched their systems. They're suggesting you might change your password to pretty much all of these systems. So keep in mind, for someone to actually get your password, they'd have to pass through the decryption process of OpenSSL. If you haven't logged into the system, well, your password never really passed through there, and you should be fine. Nonetheless, it's better to be completely safe than sorry. Now, there have been a lot of big questions whether passwords are the best way to log in anymore. We just talked about the whole handprint reading from the veins or getting from an eye print or a fingerprint or whatnot. There's ways to hack in. There's ways to avoid getting hacked in. But a lot of websites have even switched to what's called two-factor authentication. I just switched to it on my Google page, which has caused me a little bit of pain. But once I get an idea of how it works, and once it gets all settled in, it's going to be fine. In the current time frame, did we know about the bug before it was announced? Now, before even Coder Macan found it. Now, one report says that the NSA had a good idea that the bug was around, but then the NSA said, no, we had no idea. But it's confirming a little bit more that the NSA has been known about this, because this bug has actually been around for years. And the NSA might have even used it to their advantage all these years. So it could mean that your information is still on a list. And this is the important part. since it's been years, it could be that your information is on this list and they just haven't gotten to your username and password because, they're dealing with these guys because they can get into those without any problem. Now, these guys are changing their passwords, so they're going to start running down this list. And there's your name right there. And they're coming down and poof, there you are. It's time to change your passwords. Simple as that. So your information might be sitting in somebody's hands. They just haven't gotten to it yet. This is why it's so important to change those passwords right now. Remember, 2 words together, put them together, and 2 words that you don't do my dog, you do maybe your street name, dog, Billy, dog, something like that, put it together, put a couple numbers in there, put like an exclamation point or something like that in there. You've got a very well-crafted password that you can remember. And remember those lowercase and uppercase letters, you should be fine. But change your passwords now. Have you done it yet? Have you done it now? Have you done it now? I know it's a pain to do it. Maybe even get one, and maybe it's time to invest in one of those single passwords to remember all the other passwords. I don't know if they've been hacked with OpenSSL. I didn't see them on any lists. I would have definitely talked about it. So, but and of course, there's a lot of websites. There's a lot of companies that are keeping that information private. So you won't know if they were on the list or not. So that's something to think about as well. But change your passwords. If you haven't changed your password in over 2 years, change them now. If you need help changing them, let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Geekazine at gmail.com or 608-205-4378. Don't send me your passwords, by the way. Please don't send me your passwords. So, anyway, that does it for this episode of Geek Smack. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. Be open. Give me a hug. I give you a hug. Right here. A hug. Hugs are good. Hugs release endorphins and make everybody happy. I got hugged today. Jennifer hugged me. I was happy. It's important. Get a hug. Anyway, my name is Jeffrey. That's my PSA for the day. Jeffrey Powers here. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening over on iTunes, over on Stitcher, or wherever you catch the audio show. We're going to be back next week. We've got a few shows, and then we're going to hit episode 300. I think we're going to hit episode 300 before I go out to New York City, and we'll have a special episode there. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. We will see you next time. You guys geek out and take care. This is Geek Smack. You guys have fun. Have a safe week. Maybe the weather will warm up, stop snowing, and the moon will stop bleeding, and tax day will be over definitely. And go from there. Thanks a lot for watching. Geek out.